Any ideas, Ozzy? I mean, you are the smartest man in the world, right?
It doesn't take a genius to see that America has problems that need tackling.
Brandon, I am a big Watchmen fan, and this hit. This was absolutely fantastic. I felt like this is the truest adaptation that we've seen from the Watchmen yet. I mean, I like the movie, but I love the series that not J.J. Abrams, Damon Lindelof did. But this is fantastic. What drew you to directing this adaptation for such an iconic and complex graphic novel like The Watchmen?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were all very excited to create a comic book experience, but try to embrace all of the strengths and the unique voice that animation can bring to it. So I think anybody that adapts anything, I think any artist involved is going to have maybe a slightly different take than any other artists adapting their version of it, right? And so I think hopefully that is the entertainment and the appeal of what we're doing, is that we have found a different way in through animation, through another amazing cast of characters, of actors that are bringing a performance and all of their expertise to the table to analyze these words that are written on the page and bring these characters to life in a way that maybe you didn't imagine when you read the book originally. Or, again, the narrator of the motion comic, or the amazing cast that Zack Snyder got in his 2009 movie. Again, this is what we do as humans making art. The best stuff rises to the top, and we make it again and again with different artists coming forward to do their take. And I think in that is analysis of the original work and entertainment for what new voices can bring to the material that is hopefully surprising and interesting and brings more people to the original book. That's another goal of ours.
Completely agree with you. It's crazy because when I read that original graphic novel, it's wild seeing these characters brought to life on screen and hearing the voices in my head of how I imagine them. Another thing that was really cool about this is the way that you incorporated the Tales of the Black Freighter, because I was very curious to see how that was going to work in the animated form. And this was perfect. It's like exactly what I wanted. How do you approach balancing the faithfulness of the original material with the creative freedom that animation allows?
I mean, that's the question that we asked ourselves again and again throughout. That was the challenge of making it. Since you brought up Black Freighter, I mean, I think that's a great place to start, a great example. Jan Straczynski, who did our adaptation of the script, had some really great ideas for through the adaptation process, trying to fold Black Freighter in ways that are a little different than the book, but honor the spirit of the book. And you'll find a lot of, great poetic resonance between what is going on in the book and what is going on at any given time in the world outside of the comic book, or with the characters outside of the comic book. So that depiction of the comic book, those visualizations, I think work best in animation, as you're going between the visual of the comic book panel to the visual of our animated character, as opposed to a live action character. I think that transition, the visual back and forth, is something that is a great strength for the animation medium that might work in live action. I'm not going to say it's not in the hands of the right filmmaker. Sure. But I think this was something that just fit best in animation. And there were many choices like that all throughout.
Yeah, brilliant choices. I loved it. Now, speaking of J. Michael Straczynski, he's amazing. He's a great dude. And I love, I think he's made one of the best sci-fi shows of all time with Babylon 5. Can you talk about the collaboration process working with him on the screenplay and the adaptation process that influenced your direction?
I think, when we first met, I think our goal was to change less and we ended up changing. I think as you get into it, because again, we have such deep love for the material. We really just wanted to be as faithful as humanly possible. But the process of adaptation, the process of translating what worked great for 12 individual issues, it doesn't necessarily work great for movie format pacing. So there was a lot of discussion up front of how much should we reorder or change for the sake of pacing? Because we wanted to honor the intent of the book. We wanted to honor the spirit as much as we could. But the nature of filmmaking and movie pacing kind of just required certain re-edits. and cutting of some material so that we could really focus on what we needed to focus on in the very limited amount of screen time that we had.
Well, look, I think you guys did a fantastic job. I watched even through the credits. There's like these little like audiobooks, the newsreels and interviews that kind of play. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then we get that teaser of the second part, and I cannot wait. Thank you so much for your time, Brandon. This is absolutely incredible. As a Watchmen fan, I feel like this is a pretty faithful adaptation, and I think that you live like right in the panels of the comic within the animation. So thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the kind words. Appreciate your time too.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I came here to warn you about the mass killer, so you don't end up the smartest man in the morgue. But I guess there's worse things to end up as.